Hey everyone, this is Angie with Too Cool Stamping. Today I just wanted to do a quick video to show you how to do the block stamping to get these beautiful color blocks in the background of this card that I did with the Rooted in Nature stamp set. I love being able to use a silhouette stamp on a really kind of a creative background to make it a little more visually appealing. This is kind of a graphic look. And you can mix it up and do all sorts of blocks. And all we're doing is stamping with our actual acrylic block. So I want to show you how to do that really quickly. It's very, very simple. For this particular card, we started out with a 3.5 wide by 4.5 inch high piece of Whisper White. And I made the paper a little bit bigger, and I'll show you why in a little bit. But we're going to start with the eye block. That's the long skinny block, and I'm going to stamp that with the Mango Melody. So I'm just going to ink it up just like I would a stamp. Just tap it, make sure it's nicely covered. And then we're going to use our color spritzer. And this is a really handy tool just to get a light mist of color. Now I don't want to get all my paper wet, but I'm just going to do a couple of light mists, maybe 2 or 3. I'm going to do it off camera so I don't get my area damp. So 1 second, please. So I did about 4 spritzes, and you can see how the color is blending and running a little bit. You don't want to get it too wet, but you want to get it wet enough that the color is flowing. So I'm just going to take this block and I'm going to stamp it right on the side here and just let it push down and then hold it there. You want it to hold there. I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but you can kind of see kind of a crackling as the ink is being absorbed into the paper. So you'll kind of watch this movement through the block. And like I said, it kind of looks like crackling. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's just the color pulling away from the block and transferring and absorbing into the paper. Once you stop seeing the motion underneath the block, then you know that it's ready to pick up. Now I made my paper a little bit longer than it should be. I need it to be a 4-inch long piece. And the reason that I did that was I noticed when I was trying to have the color just go off of a 4-inch piece, it would start to bleed on the end. Do you see what I see at the top here? And it would it wouldn't have that straight line because of the bleeding on the edge. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted it to have a nice crisp edge, or at least a crisp line, so that it would look like it was bleeding off the page, but it wasn't actually bleeding into the edge. So I went ahead and did that on a longer sheet, and then I can go back and just trim those edges. You can see in the edge of this one, it's starting to seep into the edge and it gets a little darker there. I don't want that. So I will go back later and trim off those pieces. But that is just the first block. Then we're going to use the Poppy Parade. We're going to do the same thing, just ink up like you would a stamp. And I'm going to mist again with the color mister. 1, 2, 3. And this one has a lot of color. I can see it floating around there. So it just kind of depends on what. And you can see that I'm also overlapping the blocks. I like the interest in there. You can really see the crackling happening here. Can you see that on the camera, hopefully? So wait for that to be done. And then you can pull that off. And it's not going to be a really crisp block sometimes if you have a whole lot of ink on there, but that's perfectly fine. We want it to have kind of a watercolory feel. If you don't get enough mist, that's what I wanted to show you this one. This is one that doesn't have enough mist. And it's actually, you know, if you're going for that look where you want a little bit of a patterned, you know, with a little bit of white showing through, then that's fine. But that's what you get without having enough mist on there so that the ink is not running the way that it should. So that is how you get the background color blocking on these beautiful cards. The rest of this card I have shown on my blog at www.toocoolstamping.com. And we're just using the Wood Textures Designer Series paper, the Rooted in Nature stamp set, and we've cut that out with the Nature's Root framelits and pop that up as a beautiful silhouette there. And then I just hand cut with some paper snips this really pretty sentiment, blocked sentiment. I love how the blocks of color kind of offset the blocking of the sentiment there. Just hand cut those and pop those all up. Just for a really fun and kind of unique look for a sympathy card or a thinking of you card. I just love it. It has a really nice appeal to me. I hope you love it too, and if you want more ideas with the Rooted in Nature stamp set or all kinds of other stamps from Stampin' Up!, please join me at my blog. It's www.2coolstamping.com. I'll see you next time. This is Angie. Bye-bye.